there, Jyotsna here, and my students like to call me Coach Joe. It's such a fascinating time for me because I get to work with students specifically for their research project. So, this is a new initiative that I came up with, and I've done it for 2 seasons. It is the research program for high school students. I can't emphasize enough the importance of doing research in high school, specifically the later grades like juniors and seniors. It really instills a sense of deep learning, like finding out what is their area of interest, like zeroing in on the major that they would like to pursue. And also, it sets them apart, right? Doing research is not necessarily easy. It's a lot of hours of commitment. And in my curriculum, everything is included in the sense like we guide them through the whole research process, like right from picking a topic. I mean, they can pick any topic they want, or if they are not sure as to what area or topic they want to pick, I certainly help them to discover that. And it always, most certainly, aligns with the passion, talent, and interest. And also, I'd like to tell you that a research paper or a research project is not complete until it's peer reviewed by an expert. And that's the reason I bring in absolute experts in the field, starting from Dr. Subhashini Ganapathy, who's the head of the Department of Wright State University. She's a fantastic mentor and expert when it comes to human factors engineering. She was part of our spring program. Then we have Dr. Raj, who is Dr. Rajagopal Appavu, who's a vaccine specialist, immunologist, and an associate professor. And also, he acquired his degree from a very esteemed university in India, which is the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. I'm very, very passionate about that particular institute because my father graduated from that as well. Like many, many eons ago, he did his degree in metallurgy, which is the study of metals, and he owned a factory. So I would say that he was one of the first people to instill the passion for research and learning. I remember him getting so many books and encouraging me to read. So that's how this all started in the research program. And also, it sort of took into action because when my son was in the sophomore year and the junior year, he did AP seminar and research in school. And he picked blockchain. He was super interested in the blockchain cryptocurrency, and he wanted to write a research paper. But at that time, I did not find any avenues or resources that we could use where he could publish his paper. So this was a deep-seated need or a void that was in there. I mean, he's gone along like graduating high school and gone into college. But I was like so desperate to introduce this program. And I'm so happy that Dr. Ganapathy was one of the first architects who helped us. She came in and she encouraged students to pursue research and write the research paper. So now I have like a formal process for research where students follow through a sort of a curriculum to complete their research. Of course, there is an expert guiding them through like how to dig deep, do research, do scientific inquiry, read the data and statistics, who is of course a PhD and an expert in the field like Dr. Appavu, who is going to help us with our current research program. And they interact with Dr. Appavu to dig deeper into the technical aspects of research. And I help them structure and write a research paper, right from how to start with a hypothesis, write an introduction, body, the conclusion, the APA reference, and everything. So stay tuned where I give a detailed presentation as to how I take high school students through the journey of the research program.
The importance of research, how it impacts a high school student, and our methodology and sessions. So let's get started. So let's start with the objectives or the benefits of a research program for high school students. The number one benefit is, of course, it enhances their intellectual development and personal growth. I mean, this is something that is superbly personal to a high school student. Doing research is not easy. It's a lot of commitment. And Gen Z, which is their generation, is extremely smart and intelligent, and they like to consume information bite-size. So the second benefit of a research program is enhancements of their critical thinking and analytical skills, and also hands-on learning. I mean, there's a lot of data that needs to be read. There's a lot of connections that need to be made. There's a lot of learning that is involved. And research is something that is self-driven, that a student needs to do on their own. Next is immersing themselves with research expands their career choices. Like, for example, if they really want to go into medicine, then research would be a good initiative to sort of test waters. I had a lot of students who did research in various fields of medicine. Like one girl did research on marine-based medicines that can be discovered and created to cure cancer. Another did research on Alzheimer's. Another did research on depression. So it sort of helps them gauge their major as well. I had a lot of students who did research with AI and machine language as well, wrote Python scripts. So this really helps them understand what direction that they want to go to, and also helps them sort of come up with what career options that they want to explore. Of course, they get a deep understanding of the subject matter. And that's not really possible through a classroom instruction alone, right? So they go into depth of it. While doing research, it's not just one article that they're going to read. They're going to read like 10s and 20 articles. They're going to get like so deep into that. That's exactly what happened with my son when he took on blockchain for AP seminar and AP research in his school. He dug deeper. He learned a lot about cryptocurrency and everything. And my younger son also did this research program in spring. And he's very fascinated with football, and he did research on CTE, and every day he would come and tell me, "Mom, look what I found about CTE," and he wrote a wonderful research paper. So they just go deeper and deeper. I mean, you can't just tell a high school student, "Oh, you have to learn deeply." You really need to give them a project where they can really put in that kind of effort. Next, it's a fantastic extracurricular activity for college applications. It goes in many places, especially the supplemental essays. They can write about their research to show college what they've done. And further along, I'm going to show you an acceptance letter from Duke where they show how much they love students who have done research. So why did I create this program? I mean, why? Yes, of course, my son didn't get an opportunity to publish a research paper. That was one of the reasons. But I deeply care about this generation or these teens, and I want them to learn deeply. I know that pursuing research in high school is difficult because they need like the proper guidance to do the research. There's a lot of other aspects of it. You just don't tell a student, go do research on this. You have to give them the kind of directions and all kinds of requirements to complete the assignment. And I realized that a lot of students are scientifically curious. They want to do research and explore further, but they don't have the right training to do that. I mean, it's still ringing in my head. Aducanap. That's a kind of a medication for Alzheimer's or something that the student of mine did. I mean, she was so passionate about it, right? I was like blown away when I saw the topics that my students picked, and they went ahead and researched and did a final paper. It was like sitting in a PhD class and listening to them. It also provides them a mentorship to conduct a research product in any field. I get the best mentor, and I mentor students personally when it comes to research. And also, we provide the best resources, subject matter experts. Like, for instance, Dr. Raj, who's going to run our program, is a vaccine specialist. He's an immunologist. He is an MBA. He's an associate professor in South Florida. He's done many years of research. He was involved in the coronavirus vaccine creation and everything. So getting the best expert in the field is what is very important. Previously for spring, we had Dr. Ganapati, who is a leading expert in user experience. She guided students into writing research papers as well. So what is the objective of this research program? I mean, what are we trying to achieve? There should always be quantifiable goals to anything that you do. Yes, there is qualitative aspect of it, but quantifiable goals that I'm going to go over. Introduce students to scientific inquiry is like our research is based on questioning. Why? What? How? How is this made? Is it a descriptive research that I'm doing? Am I questioning it? Or what is it that the research is about? Right. Next, they are introduced to data. A lot of data analysis, statistics, and probability. That's like the cornerstone of any research. They need to be introduced to data. Next, it introduces them to evaluate information from a variety of sources. And of course, students cannot reference papers which have not been peer-reviewed or scientifically reviewed, right? They cannot quote newspapers or Wikipedia that have not been substantiated. So they have to get their information from valid research sources. And we make students refer to minimum of 10 resources to do their research paper. Next, we want to apply their knowledge of the scientific theory, right? They need to understand the different theory that's involved and go ahead and learn deeply and contribute. Next, they need to write a comprehensive research paper of a minimum of 2,000 words. I'm going to increase this session to about 3,000 because I've been seeing a lot of research papers that are much longer and more comprehensive. And the other objective is their research paper will be peer reviewed by an expert. And I will tell you what peer reviewing is and the importance of peer reviewing. And then they get to publish their peer reviewed research paper in journals, right? That's like wonderful to see your paper getting published. And they need to present their findings to an audience. I conduct a final presentation called as thesis defense, where students need to come in and present their research, not just show their paper, but give a proper presentation as to why they did research, what was their finding, what was the data that they collected, and all those kind of details. And I expect them to go back to school and present there in their class as well. Okay. So now I'm going to talk to you about a very, very important concept, which is a cornerstone for research, is peer review. What is a peer review and why does a research paper need to be peer reviewed? Okay, peer review is a process where an author's scholarly work or research or ideas are scrutinized by experts in the same field. So there's, for example, Dr. Raj is an expert in vaccine and immunology and the medical field. So he will peer review, guide students into writing the paper, and the final review of the paper will be done by him. This is extremely important to ensure academic scientific quality. So a research paper is valid only if it is peer-reviewed or it is blessed by a person who's an expert, who's a PhD, a minimum PhD, who's guided them. So most of the journals will not accept papers if they've not been peer-reviewed. I mean, if it's not peer-reviewed, it's a blog on Medium, right? So it doesn't have scientific validation or backing. That is why you need an expert to guide you. And that is why this program is so unique, because I'm providing the expert that the students can work with throughout their research, write their paper, get their paper reviewed. There's a lot of revisions that happens, and make it like a very good paper that can be published anywhere in the world. Okay. So why is peer review needed? Like I mentioned, it's also known as scholarly publication. Like anything, it has to be validated, and they are high school students, right? So whatever research they've done, it doesn't matter who does research, it usually needs to be peer reviewed by an expert. Got it? And why is it needed? Because most of the journals, they only accept research paper if it is validated or reviewed by an expert. Okay, so let's come to our course. The way I built this course is I wanted to have a quantifiable result at the end of this research journey. And I tell my students that this course is just sort of a beginning in their journey for research. And I always ask them to sort of keep enhancing on their research. So the 7-week research program, which will help students write a research paper, is guided by Dr. Rajagopal Appavu. He's an assistant professor, vaccine developer. He's a senior data scientist, analyst. He's a toxicologist and a chemist, and he's a wonderful human being. He just is so passionate with helping high school students. Last session, the summer session, he spent so much time in helping students with the research, guiding them with their topic, like telling them specific things that need to be included in the research paper. So it's a wonderful opportunity to work with such a kind-hearted person, and we call him Dr. Raj. Okay, so students learn scientific investigation. So these are the steps that we follow. Number 1, asking a research question, right? They form the question or the topic. And sometimes we don't force students to form the topic even. I tell them that it's okay if you've not zeroed in on your topic, like just start doing research, the area of research, right? After you do a little bit of research and you learn more about it, then you can construct your question or your topic. Got it? So that is one of the things. Next is they need to form a hypothesis. They need to design experiments, but because of Corona, they didn't have access to a lab or anything. But if they do, we encourage them to do experiments. They have to test their hypothesis, collect data, perform analysis on the data that they've collected, and write a conclusion. So these are the 7 steps that we follow in our research process as well. Okay, and after that, there are 3 stages of the writing process. One is the research and planning. Next is the writing. They write the first draft. And I take them through the journey where I teach them how to write the introduction first. Then I teach them how to write the body, the hypothesis, the conclusion. Okay, and how to put pictures and diagrams in their research paper, the tables. I always insist on students producing their own data based on the analysis and the research that they've done, and present it in a histogram or graph in their research paper, so that any future papers can reference their diagram and they get credit for that, right? So these are some of the things that students do when they come to me. And of course, it's this revision process. We spend a lot of time in going over revising our research paper. So in the session 1, they choose a research topic. Dr. Raj works closely with them to determine what topic they want the students to work on in the general sense, right? So a lot of students had various topics. With AI, we make them get data from the Kaggle data set. if it's depression or anything. And some research papers are paid, which the doctor has access to, and he sort of helps get those papers as well. In the session 2, we teach them the methods to conduct the preliminary research. We introduce them to various journals like PubMed and everything. They are not allowed to use newspapers because that information is not substantiated. It's sponsor backed. So, and we sort of teach them the format and the requirements of the research paper. I follow a format called as JSR format, which is basically the Journal of Student Research, where they will be submitting their paper. So I use their format because that's a pretty good format to write, and it guides them through that. And the third session is how to do research, right? We teach them how to dig deep into the articles, conduct the preliminary research, and write the research questions. So session 3 is about the research questions, like do a framework and outline as to what is the scope of their research. Fourth session, they create a research outline, right? They have to answer the question, what? What is the specific purpose of the research? Like why do they want to do the research? Introduce the background for it. Second is why, the most difficult part, why they want to do it. What are the gaping holes, or what is the problem that they're trying to solve? And number third is how they're going to go about it, which is essentially the outline or map the whole research as such. That's session 4. In session 5, we review whatever information that they've collected. I go through them, teaching them how to write a paragraph. It's not like they don't know how to write a paragraph. It's like a paragraph is a mini research in itself. It needs to have a beginning, middle, and end, a paragraph. And it needs to have, like what, experiments they've gone over. Are there any results that they would like to share? So each paragraph is so important. So we spend a lot of time in measuring and sort of writing our paragraphs. And once it's all done, we sort of bring it to Dr. Raj to get it peer reviewed. He reviews the paper. He makes sure that the molecules that are referenced in the research have the molecular weight. These were some of the things that he pointed out in the research paper. Then there are sufficient diagrams that are there, and if the language that is there is the appropriate third-person language. So there's a lot of components to writing a research paper, and we guide them through that. And in session 7 is when it's a beautiful thing. It's the final presentation. So they've completed their research paper, and now it's time to get the family, the parents, the siblings, the grandparents, the pets to see their work. So it's like a huge ceremony where all students sort of present. I have a YouTube video of our summer presentation. It's wonderful. You'll be blown away with the kind of work that the students do. Their presentation is so impressive. It's colorful, and they're so passionate about presenting. It's their baby. And you definitely have to check out that video on YouTube where the whole presentation is. And they have to field questions as well. So each student has to ask 2 questions and to the group, and they need to answer the questions that comes to them about the research. Okay, so that was the introduction of the session details. I would like to go into detail about the qualification of our main peer reviewer or instructor, Dr. Rajagopal Appavu. He's a PhD, he's an MBA. His expertise is vaccine and drug development, medical device technology, data science, pharmaceutical, chemical biology, all that. And his skills are in innate immunity. I mean, a whole list of cell immunology. It's so wonderful to work with an expert. My students thoroughly enjoyed working with him, and he's going to help us with the fall season as well. Okay, the research papers will be published on my website, Gifted Gapper website, And also that can be referenced into their resume. And there are sufficient SEO, search engine optimization that happens there. Okay, and guess what the bonus is? We help students create their research paper so that it can be published in the Journal of Student Research. Not just one journal. They have a research grade, a peer-reviewed research paper that they can publish anywhere. It goes with them. Even if they go to college, they can come back and, continue with that specific research or publish it any place that they want. I just wanted to highlight the impact of research on the college admissions. I have a sample letter here from Duke, where they really like research, and I'm going to read it quickly. Dear so-and-so, I enjoyed reviewing your application, and the admissions committee was impressed by your innovative projects and research prowess. At Duke, you can continue innovating in makerspace like the Foundry and through programs like Duke STEAM, the Innovation Blue Pen, and IE Blue Pen. I hope you will join us as a member for the Forever Duke family. Go Devils, Kelly Noel. So you can see here, the admission officer has given a handwritten acceptance letter highlighting the importance of research. So colleges and highly selective schools love seeing research in a student's profile. So now, are you interested in our fall research program? Then I have a few bonuses that I want to share with you. A few extra bonus that we are introducing in our program. Number one is we will be guiding students to writing their research journal according to a specific standard so they can submit it in the Journal of Student Research. Journal of Student Research is an online forum which encourages high school students and people from all around the world to submit their research paper. And the research papers need to be peer reviewed. So we will be guiding students to write their research journal and helping them submit. Of course, there's a cost associated with submitting the paper which the students need to incur. Okay, the second bonus is my most favorite bonus, which is submitting for a science talent search. You all must have heard about Regeneron, which is a huge pharmaceutical company, and they do encourage high school students. And the research that they're going to conduct and the research paper that they're going to write, I'm going to help them format it so they can get ready to submit it for the next cycle of the competition, because this is mostly for the high school seniors. Now let's go over the detailed schedule for the fall research program. I've split the program into two parts. One is where they meet with Dr. Raj, our expert, and they learn how to do research and everything. That is on Saturdays at 1 p.m. We have dates in October, November, and December. During the December break or the Christmas break, they will get an opportunity to still work on their research. That's the way I've built the program. And they can finally submit it in the Journal of Student Research for the February cycle and also give their presentation. They will meet with me on Thursdays at 8 p.m. where we purely go over how to write the research paper, like how to do like scientific inquiry, data analysis, probability, statistics, how to write the introduction, body, conclusion, the abstract, how to write references, and all those aspects of publishing a research journal. So we've split our responsibilities where they meet twice a week. And again, they will get a break during the Christmas break, and then their final submission will be in January. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to register into the fall research program. Go to the Gifted Gapper website. So here we go. if you scroll down, we have our research program, and you can enroll right here. Or you can, if you have any further questions, you can email me, or you can schedule a 15-minute free call with me. So I hope to see all your high school students participating in this wonderful program, and it is my passion to help them succeed. See you around.